Welcome to the Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast, bringing you the country's top podcast on the subject of internet marketing. I'm your host, Glenn Thayer, and today we're going to discuss 10 things all websites should do. Joining me today, we have the CEO of Intuitive Websites, Thomas Young, and web marketing guru, Dennis McCarthy. In this 10 things all websites should do, we're actually the first part of this podcast. We're doing two parts. We're going to go through 1 through 5, and then the second part, part 2, we'll go through 6 through 10. So, guys, what should people start with as far as the 10 things all websites should do? What's the first thing?
Well, they're all important, but the first one is to engage visitors. And this can be tracked in lots of different ways. But basically what we mean is that someone comes into a website, they should stay on that website, find something engaging, something of value, and begin navigating around through pages. So many websites have visitors leave immediately, and that's called a bounce rate. If you're running Google Analytics, you'll see a bounce rate. And we like to see websites with a bounce rate of about 30%, which means that only 30% of the people that came in left immediately, but 70% stayed. And that really is the number one thing. And in fact, all the things we're going to talk about are important, all 10 of them. But if there's one at the top of the list, I would say engaging visitors.
Now, would you say that would be a big issue with bounce rates as far as maybe people not optimizing the search engines properly or not having their web page optimized? So somebody might go to a website that they're thinking they're going to buy cheese online, like Hickory Farms type deal, and maybe they get a real estate company or something.
The biggest assumption right off the bat has to be that whatever they were looking for on that website was not there.
And a high bounce rate indicates that there's a misalignment between the visitor and the content. And we've seen, 30% is the goal, but average might be 40 or 50%. And we've seen new projects be started with the bounce rates at 80 or 90%, and a lot of that traffic being paid. So sometimes it's too general. The optimization is too general, and they get a bunch of people in there that had no interest in their stuff whatsoever.
Or they're buying wrong keywords, maybe? Is that what a lot of it is?
They're buying real generic keywords.
Right. And one of the things that I think that when we look at websites, Dennis and I, it's pretty easy. We could say, look, who's going to want to stay on this website? And a lot of times it's just either a confusing message or there's just too many options on the site. And a lot of times, even if you have a decent bounce rate, a lot of times people will go to one or two options on the site and then leave there. And so, it's just so important to try to engage your visitors when they come in.
I think the most common thing is overwhelm. People look at all these options and they get a headache and they leave.
Absolutely. And so if number one is engaging visitors, number two would be to convert that visitor, because it's one thing to engage them and have a low bounce rate. It's another thing to have some kind of a conversion take place.
And whether that's either a sale or generating a lead that leads to a sale.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can be tracked as conversions on websites. We actually have another podcast just on conversions, but it's important that you know what your conversion should be, whether it's a contact or a lead or a direct e-commerce sale, or maybe someone completing a form of some type for some free information or a brochure or something. But it also can be people signing up for an email, getting more people on your email list. Or it could be, having people look at a specific page, because then they're probably going to take action if they look at that page, like driving directions to our location, something like that.
It's like meeting.
Phone.
It's like meeting a new person. You need to find somebody with similar interests and create a relationship with them. And your website ought to do the same thing.
Yeah, the conversion. I think Dennis would agree with this. Is that a lot of times the biggest problem is the website doesn't have a strategy for conversion. It's just not clear. They haven't thought through, what do we want this site to do and how do we want it to convert. And of course, phone calls are probably one of the top. I would say if there's top 2 or 3, phone calls has got to be in there. So people coming to your website and then calling you on the phone. And there is now some software out there that can do some great stuff as far as tracking phone calls that have come from your website and how people got to that page, found that phone number, and placed the call.
Yeah. I think conversion, we should do a whole series of podcasts on conversion. The worst thing you can offer people on your website is sign up for more information. They're on your website. They have the information. It's all about the information. And I think the thing with conversions is that people don't try hard enough. They'll try a couple of things. Maybe they'll give away a white paper or something, and it won't work. 2% of the people will sign up for it, and then they'll give up. You have to keep trying and keep swinging for the fences with the best conversion tool you can think of. And if you find something that truly has value to your visitor that they can't just read, then you'll form those relationships that will lead to leads, that will lead to sales.
Something I want to back up on really quick is talking about newsletters as far as a conversion. Being able to get people sign up for the newsletter. Okay, great. That's well and good, but I can tell you right now, I get over 50 newsletters a day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our rule of thumb with email marketing is that good stuff gets kept and saved and sent to other people, and bad stuff gets deleted. So you've got to add value. You've got to be in the good stuff column.
Really, for me, it's the cream of the crop stuff I read. The rest I don't have time for. I've signed up for 20 things that I just don't have time to read.
So, I mean, I find personally, and I'm sure both of you probably agree with me, is anytime people send me sales copy, like buy, I'm not really interested in that. I want content, and I want stuff that I can use, and then I'll come purchase from you at a later date when I'm ready to buy.
It's interesting to be, we're recording this in December 2008, and there's a recession going on, but people still want to sell online, and I've signed up for a lot of emails to come from major retailers, and the desperation from these retailers. Yeah. And I've never seen the percent signs as big as they've been this year with the 20% off, 30% off, 40% off, as much as 50% off plus free shipping, even free second day shipping now. Just amazing what they're doing. And and my point from bringing this up is the simplification and the directness of the message. All the emails said is 20% off in a size, probably 100 font or whatever they're using. And that's what they're doing is they're figuring out, look, if we don't have some value immediately for people, our email is going to get deleted from people's busy email boxes. So
you need to solve a problem that I have right now, and you need to do it in the subject line of that email newsletter. Then I'll read it. And
the retailers are saying, we're going to solve your problem not having enough money. We're going to just give away everything we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you look then at a third area, that would be driving traffic. Now, driving traffic has a lot of qualifiers around it, but it's definitely got to be in the top 5 because you got to have people on your website. Otherwise, there's no one to engage or convert.
I mean, there's a lot of places to drive traffic. I mean, clearly there's buying AdWords. There's making sure your page is optimized for all the major search engines. What do you think about affiliate marketing? Because I'm seeing a lot of that lately, especially with the recession, and everybody's going, well, how can I make extra money, or how can I help somebody else by sharing my mailing list? Maybe I will send out to my list something from my friend Bill who's got a great product or service and say, hey, you know what, check out my friend Bill. It's unbelievable what he's got.
Well, you got to be careful with that, because when they signed up for your email, you need to have a legal statement on your website that indicates what you will be doing with their private information. And if you just give their email address to somebody of yours,
well, I'm not saying
illegal.
What I'm talking about as far as affiliate marketing is more from a standpoint, instead of giving it to them, going, I'm going to vouch for you.
Exactly.
Like I might say, Dennis, you're going to be doing some search engine optimization. You do an unbelievable job. What I want to do is set up an affiliate relationship with you, but I'm going to send out to my list saying, hey, check out Dennis. Mm-hmm. And I'll have a link that might be specific to me. You're not getting my information. You're not getting my list, but I'm going to share with everybody on my list because you have value.
Mm-hmm. Over the years, this concept has had different names, from link exchanges to social marketing to affiliate programs to website refers. It's basically the same thing. What it is, it's saying getting your website and getting your company listed on other websites. Okay, that's the bottom line. That's what it is. And you have different names for it, but it's certainly growing. And in a recession, it's going to be real important because of that trust level. And trust and value all work together. So, people will pay more if they trust you. But I think I would say that in the last few months, the concept, what they call social marketing now, which is this concept you're talking about, is growing tremendously with websites like LinkedIn and a whole school of others that are kind of coming up behind LinkedIn. We talked about this before in other podcasts. The whole internet dating phenomenon is just massive.
Facebook is unbelievably huge.
Facebook, Twitter.
Facebook really used to be focused on a lot of the college students, and now on the professional end, it's unreal how many people are on there.
And it's the idea, and that's in the blogging and so forth. It's the concept of, hey, look at me. This is my life. Here's my life. Here's my kids. This is what I'm doing today. Hey, come and look at this. I'm recording a podcast today. Let's go put this on the internet so all our friends can see it.
Twitter.
But that's that functions on the social level. But for business to business, there still is a level of that happens. It's a little different. It's kind of like the networking thing where you'd go and meet people and network and hand out business cards and have a beer or something. Yeah, that's fine. But that can also happen on the web through sites like LinkedIn and so forth. The key thing about driving traffic from that source, and we should probably do another podcast on this, is the openness of your communication and your content. And the fact that you're not there to sell or to just get some benefit for yourself, but you're there to share and to help other people. And by sharing and helping, everybody benefits and finds what they need, and that's kind of the concept behind it.
So don't put your articles behind a login. Don't hide anything under the kimono. I mean, the web is about sharing, and the more value you bring, the more value you'll get back.
You mentioned Twitter.
Twitter,
and
absolutely.
A lot of companies are going on Twitter. And for people who don't know about Twitter, it's more of a microblog. You have 140 characters to deal with. That's it.
Yeah.
Not 140 words, but 140 characters. You basically get 2 sentences. And if you can't say it in 2 sentences, it doesn't get said.
Well, and people don't want to take that much time. I mean, it's interesting to see. You know, I have some friends that use these types of websites, the Facebooks and the Twitters, and they say things like, you know, I'm happy now. I'm going to work out. You know, I mean, so I guess it's interesting to know that, you know, but I guess that's how it works in social marketing.
Well, it's funny, Tom, because there's another aspect, because I'm on Twitter, and I think I follow about 40 people.
Wow.
And those 40 people that I follow
are a little
give
creeped
content.
out.
Well, no, exactly. It's the stalking site. It's set up to where they actually deliver content in those 140 characters. They're setting up with some of the companies like TinyURL that condenses the URLs. If you have a long URL you're maybe linking to a blog, or some other type of content, it'll shorten it. Now, the great thing about it is what these people are doing that are providing value. These are top advertising executives at the top agencies in the U.S. Mm-hmm. People that have content. I'm following a futurist, following all these different people, and what's happening is they have content. And when they do a post, a prime example is Thomas Fry. Mm-hmm. He's a futurist, and he posts, here's some information. Here's the new car from Honda, seats 1 person. And what he does is it links to his blog. There is no sales on it. It goes to the article that he found the information on and wrote a paragraph on this new car.
Like a micro
interesting.
And so what it does is it puts over there, and then you go, oh, wait a minute. Everything that he talks about or that he links to on Twitter has something to do with the future. And you go, wait a minute, who is Thomas Fry? And then you look and go, oh, he's a futurist. I can have him come speak at my university.
Or you can buy his book.
Or you can buy his book. And that's how he gets his business, and that's how he drives traffic to his website, is by providing great content for people.
Yeah, and I think that's the strategy behind that is sound, and it happens in different ways. Not just through Twitter, but email marketing can do that too. You know, if you want to stay on top of what the
Twitter's
latest
really a
Apple
small
releases.
version of email marketing.
It is.
And what Glenn is describing.
It's a different viewpoint. But, you know, the thing is we've done several podcasts on driving traffic. If you're going to do the top 10 things, driving traffic is going to be right up there.
But I'd like to say something about driving traffic before you move on to point number 4. And that is don't worry too much about driving traffic if the destination website doesn't connect with your target market.
Absolutely.
It's better to have 3 target market visitors than 3,000 people that have no reason to be on your website. So take a hard look at your website and put it in front of target market people and ask them what they think of it, make the corrections, and then worry about driving traffic.
Absolutely. And the fourth area is pretty straightforward. Don't make them think, and it's basically based on the book. Don't make me think, which everyone should be reading. And the concept here is that they shouldn't have to try to solve your website like it's a puzzle. You know, and too many websites do that.
We actually have, and we have a previous podcast that we went over, and we were talking about Netflix, and we were going Netflix and I believe Blockbusters, who we were comparing.
That's right.
And we were looking at how simple Netflix was. You don't have to think. You log in, or not even log in, you show up on the website, and it's like, what do you want to do? You rent a movie or sign up to rent a movie?
Here's a simple, concrete exercise you can do with your own website. Go to the homepage, count the number of links that people can link on. That they can click on. Usually it's like 40 or 50 or more. And then look at your statistics and count which of the most popular pages are really getting traffic. You will find that there are maybe 6 pages that account for 80 to 90% of your total traffic.
Oh, it's amazing, yeah.
And then take all those links that you have on your website and remove them. because no one's visiting them, and you're actually hurting the visitor with all of those options.
So what should somebody do? Because that's going to be the next question is, what do I do with all these links?
A good website is an excellent table of contents. The homepage is a table of contents, and if you have major sections, lead them into those major sections, and when they get there, give them another table of contents.
Yeah, if someone's reading a book and they look at the table of contents, they don't have to think too much about what it means.
Yeah, you're giving them the whole book at one time with a busy homepage.
That's right. And we've seen stats where you can look at Google Analytics and page after page after page has 0 visitors, and then page after page has less than 1%. And then you see a handful of links that have, maybe 5%, 10%, maybe 20% on the high side. Why do you have all those other links? Now, if you're just using them for search engine purposes, I mean, there might be a point to that. But
well, then there's featureitis, where you have the meetings with your group, and there's a new program. And the person who is in charge of the new program says, we got to get this on the homepage. That happens over months and years, and you'll find nothing but all this nonsense on the homepage that nobody ever clicks on.
Narrow it down. Less is more.
Would you say if somebody has all those links and they're paring it down and going to put it into the right places, would you suggest to make sure that they have a sitemap? If somebody's really concerned with that and going, what if somebody wants to look for the content, doesn't want to have to go for it, and they're looking for that white paper?
A sitemap's really important just for search engine optimization. Every website should have a sitemap that links to every single possible corner of the website. Mm-hmm. So we would recommend that either way.
And the goal is to have it well thought out before you build a website.
Exactly.
Then you have your index.
Then you have
Speaking
your
of
index.
books.
There you go.
You do. And then the fifth area that we'll start to wrap up on is to get people excited about your website to the point where they tell others. I mean, here's the thing about the internet: it's so convenient to spread information and get information. So if you have something that's really cool, make it easy to tell other people, and in fact, make sure you have enough value that folks get excited and tell others about it.
Give them a method for telling other people. It should be one-click method that they can tell their friends.
I love the example of movies. A studio will spend $100 million on a movie, and it will be made or broken by word of mouth.
Yep.
And they'll spend tens of millions of dollars on advertising and marketing and all this stuff. And in your first week, word of mouth makes it or breaks it. It's the same. Your website can be the same way. Word of mouth can make it do really well. Or it can, you could have hardly any visitors on your site.
Well, I remember when it's funny because you can link a lot of that to like YouTube and other viral media that's out there. I don't know how many times I got the trailer for the new Batman movie before it came out in the theaters.
Oh, people sending
before
it
was
on
even
YouTube,
released in the theaters. It's like people are sending me. I'm getting all these emails that says, "Check this out, check this out, check this out." And it's the same thing where, in addition to getting people excited, that's where social media, a lot of the social media comes in. It's
Absolutely.
Check this out. This is what I just found out here.
Those videos on YouTube that are getting 1 million views, they're not getting 1 million views because of a search. They're getting 1 million views because of word of mouth. So,
never mind.
or they have a sexy lady on there or something. But
exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to cover the other 5 of these top 10 in our next podcast. So now we have some action items for all of our listeners. So, Tom, what would be the key action items for 1 through 5?
Well, let me sum up the first 5 here. Number 1 was to engage the visitor, and you do that by having a really sound strategy based on user needs. So write a strategic plan for your website. The second one was all about converting the visitor. You need a conversion strategy, and you need to be able to measure that conversion strategy with like a Google Analytics. And the third was driving traffic. I'm going to leave you with a pretty straightforward one on driving traffic, and that is get to know Google. Go and go through their tutorials, learn about pay-per-click, learn about Google.
And they still are the model for
They
search
are the
engine.
leader, and they're just becoming more powerful.
Becoming more dominant.
and the fourth area, Don't Make Me Think. Well, read the book, Don't Make Me Think, by Steve Krug. You can find that all over the web if you just do a search. And then finally, to develop a word-of-mouth strategy. Be thinking about when you design your website and you're building new content, ask this question: will this content be so good that it would be spread to other people? And if it isn't, then write content that would be sent out to other people and develop a word of mouth strategy.
And, a lot of people have no idea how to use the social media for marketing their website, and I think we should do a separate podcast on just that subject because people don't even know what Twitter is.
Absolutely.
What would be a good example of word of mouth strategy?
Absolutely. Well, there's several things you can do. I think the rule of thumb is that you want to help people do their jobs better if you're in B2B, or you want to improve the quality of people's lives if you're selling to consumers. An example of that in B2B would be, well, add value. Help them figure out how to solve a problem at their job. If it's a marketing issue or, whatever it might be. And then on the consumer side, what we're seeing now on the web is the deep discounts and the free shipping, helping people with their wallet book. So that's the kind of stuff that will get your emails sent to other people and build word of mouth.
There you have it, folks. The top 5 out of the top, or should I say the first 5 out of the top 10, engaging the visitors, converting the visitors, driving traffic, don't make them think, and getting people excited to tell others. We're going to follow up with 6 through 10 in the next podcast. Remember, this has been the Intuitive Websites Internet Marketing Podcast, and for more information and to see all the available podcasts and much more, visit intuitivewebsites.com.